Stephen K. Bannon with us, former White House strategist now. Steve, quick story, 30 seconds, and I'll give you the floor. I was there in the campaign when Access Hollywood went down. We had a conference call at 4:30 in the afternoon, or maybe 4. It was in the afternoon. And on the call that was led by Jason Miller at the time, Jason said, if you have a TV appearance tonight, which I did on CNN, cancel it. If you're on the radio, cancel it. If you're being interviewed by anybody in the news media, cancel it. We're having a meeting. We're going to figure it out. We'll have a call again tomorrow at 10. We'll get back to you, but we need 24 hours of dead silence. That seems to be what's happening again now. I had 3 people on, 2 from the campaign, 1 from the White House today. All have canceled. So Stephen K. Bannon, now what?
Look, I think it's not going to be on Twitter that, with the haters, that this thing's going to be settled. Look, he's commander-in-chief. He's the head of our government. The most important thing, and I think President Trump, they're doing it right now at the White House, is to take a deep breath, right, and show that you got command of the government. I think you got to show the markets that. You got to show other world leaders that. You have to show the people in the country. And I don't think we could have a better guy than Donald J. Trump to be in the saddle. So the first thing to do is, A, don't panic, right? Just stick to the plan. You're commander-in-chief. You got a good infrastructure around you. Make sure we got command of the government. Make sure that everything's going according to plan, right? You're going to have to do it, obviously, from the residents. But, you've got complete communication. So I think it's take a deep breath and what's the plan, right? So and there's 2 things. Number one, the campaign can all be done digitally, right? You don't have to be on a plane flying around. In fact, you could actually, I would argue, have a more leverage in doing things digitally and doing a sophisticated digital. You can reach more people, talk to more people, not spend time on planes, et cetera. So I don't think you can practice more for debate prep. You can do all the campaign stuff you want to do. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do it all from the White House, right? Number 2, the command of the government, and to make sure the markets understand that, everything's fine. It's just another day at the office, right? Which it is. Is just to go on. So I think the continuity and to do that is the number one most important message he can send. I actually disagree with not sending people out this morning. I think they should send people out with that message, right?
Agreed.
And just go out. Hey, take a deep breath. Donald Trump's a big boy. He's been a great commander-in-chief. Hasn't gotten us any shooting wars. Confronted the enemies we needed to confront: Iran, the Chinese Communist Party. Right? He's worked for peace, been nominated 3 times now by people who don't love him for the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Just stick to the program. Take a deep breath. It's just another speed bump, right? And we're used to getting speed bumps. So that is, to me, the most important thing, to settle the markets today and to make sure that people, and nobody run around with their hair on fire. Just stick to the plan, right? Don't worry about the campaign right now. Worry about the government. Just get everything settled, get everything sorted. Have a bunch of meetings telephonically. You got Mark Meadows. You got great people at the White House. I don't think they ever get enough credit because it's like Den Ben Phu over there every day. They're taking incoming, but they've got McEnany is terrific. She's unflappable. Mark Meadows, if you know Mark, he's an unflappable guy. They got Stephen Miller. They got a really just terrific team. It's just hunker down. And number one is let's make sure the markets know. I'd make some phone calls to the head trading desk, right, to make sure Treasury, Mnuchin, it's another day at the office, right? Number one. Number 2, you figure out all the campaign stuff. You got 2 weeks to the next debate. It's going to be fine, right? And I can go through a whole detailed plan that just how you can actually do it even more effectively, right? And I think obviously the Trump voters and other people would rally to you doing digital rallies, et cetera. Obviously, number 3 is you've got some great doctors over there, et cetera. Just make sure you're doing everything to monitor this. So, but I would also pivot, and we're going to have on the show today Dr. Yan. Stephen K. Bannon, since mid-January this year, unlike any other person in this country or any other media person in this country, has taken this virus very seriously, right? This is a serious thing, right? And why is this a serious thing? Because this came from the Chinese Communist Party. We've never, he called it the China virus the other night, a couple of passing references, but I think it's now time, and I hope that this, because they're clicking the champagne glasses over in Beijing. But the Global Times editor, that hack, which is the tabloid mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party, was out there, the very first thing, mocking the United States, mocking the president, mocking where we are. This it's very evident. It's obvious. We know this for a fact. This came from a Chinese Communist Party laboratory. Whether it was a deliberate biological weapon that was deliberately launched, or if it was a gain-of-function experiment that they weren't capable of monitoring and maintaining, that somehow slipped out the back door, slipped out on one of the personnels, right? That's a topic for a different day, but we know it came from a Chinese Communist Party laboratory. We've got witnesses to that fact, like Dr. Yan, who is a witness of fact of her time at the reference lab in Hong Kong in the coordination with the Beijing CCP. It's called the COVID-19, not the COVID-20 virus, for a reason. This started in the year 2019. I believe it's now time, and I hope this is a wake-up call for everybody in the government that's playing footsies with the Chinese Communist Party and everybody in the rest of the country that hasn't gotten the message that we had the greatest economy, right, on fire for strivers, for African Americans, for Hispanics, for working class people, for people who didn't go to college, lowest unemployment, wages finally starting to rise, a combination of President Trump's immigration policies, his tax policy, his trade policy, his manufacturing policy. It was all coming together, right? When in late December or early January, this virus got out, and they exacerbated its spread throughout the world, and then sucked up all the PPE, right, to make it even worse. And I think now it's time to hold accountable how this happened. And I think the President of the United States, I think he's got a great, no matter what the media says, he's got terrific people in his cabinet. He's got great people in these agencies, right? It's just now time to run as with, it's just another day at the office. And I think Treasury ought to be in communications with the capital markets. The Defense Department ought to be in communication with our allies. Pompeo, I think, is still in Europe, just not having a meeting with Pope Francis, as Pope Francis cuts a deal with the Chinese Communist Party, right? You got Mike Pompeo, you got Esper, you got some solid people. Just another day at the office. Continuity of government, and just let's get things done today. Take a breath and then figure out how you come roaring back on the campaign. You could put together a amazing. I'm doing a tour of the country digitally that's on fire about the plan to steal 2020. People can't get enough of it. Every one we do is another record online. Last night we did one in San Diego that they topped out in 30 minutes. They couldn't get anybody. They reached capacity. People are thirsting for this. For the president to go around and do it would be fine. And there's great signs that we're winning here. The Democrats are in absolute panic mode. That they've traumatized their base because of over fear of this virus. Remember, we're the guys that take it very seriously, and we're saying, hey, targeted interventions, comorbidities, minority communities. You've got to open up the economy. You have to do it smart. And you have to do it tough. President Trump's answer the other night when he talked about second and third order impacts of this virus was very sophisticated. Biden says, let Tony Fauci, let the scientists. That's just not an answer. So I think there's good news here, but I think you got to get focused. And I have tremendous respect for Ronna McDaniel, what the team at the RNC have done. I have got tremendous respect for the campaign. I say all the time, hey, when people came to me in June, when Brad was having some problems, some of the donors about going came, I say you don't need. You could be Stepion's fabulous. You get Jason Miller, Greg Mans, Cortez. You get other people. You get some great people over there. This other thing, I've got to work on this other thing because that's going to be, after game day, that's going to be everything. The campaign's got terrific people. I would just get people up on media, right? I think the story here is very straightforward, and get it up on media, and let's just get on with it, and particularly show the fact that, it's a Friday, it's another day at the office.
Yeah,
right?
see, I agree with you 110%. Like when I juxtaposition this to Access Hollywood Day, I really understood why we had to take a day and figure out what we were going to do. You guys did the video. There had to be a coordinated effort. Like, I got it, right? I mean, I was on CNN that night, called them up. I'm sick. They're like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Right. But in this instance, I think it's the exact opposite. I think you absolutely nailed it. It's just another day at work. And part of it, a lot of callers today, the deplorables, are saying, hey, what an opportunity for the president to show people, this if you don't have underlying morbidities and you're not 85 years old, right? This just is not a big deal. You can go on with your life and live. And so you do your quarantine or whatever you have to do, but he's going to be fine. Melania is going to be fine. Whoever else has it, Hope Hicks is going to be fine.
I want to say something to the deplorables. And I understand people have different opinions. That's why Jack Maxey's that wing of the things. I don't agree with that. Once you get this, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You can get through it the first time, but you just don't know. But fine, but you can get through it. And I think the deplorables in that regard are exactly right. I think it could be an actual huge benefit to the president. Because now I think his strength and his stability and his steadfastness can be shown. Hey, I got this, right? It's the reason is the CCP's put it all over the world, right? There's 1 million people dead throughout the world, a couple 100,000 here. Like you said, any dead citizen in America is a tragedy, right? We're managing through this, but we got to reopen the economy. We got to get on with our lives. We got to be smart. And I can run the United States government as the chief executive officer, as the commander-in-chief, the most powerful military in the world. I can do it from the residence of the White House with modern technology and a great staff, and I have a great staff, right? Although some of that staff's going to have to isolate, and some of that staff is going to have to quarantine, it's not the end of the world. You know what it is? It's Friday, the 2nd of October, the year of our Lord 2020. We got a plan of the day, and we're going to hit the plan of the day. And everybody's going to take a deep breath, right? And we're just going to get on with it. And that ought to be the messages out there, and they ought to be up on TV, just saying that, right? And the president, I think, can show a great thing of strength, right? Listen, he's 74 years old. He's in the target zone for this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm, as much as I love the guy, he's put on a few pounds, right? Yeah. So although I thought he looked great the other night, on TV because he looked like he lost a few, but it's just get on with it. Right? Take a deep breath and get on with it. And then I think the campaign stuff, I actually think it could be, this is providential. It could be a benefit. You get more time to maybe practice on the do some more practice for the next debate, all of that. And I think it also, you're going to draw out, let the American people who are decent, hardworking, common sense people, that's the American people, let them see the hate. Let them see the venom. Let them see what you're up against. Let them see what this irrational. This is not about policy differences. This is not about. A margin talks about marginal tax cuts. This is pure hatred, unvarnished hatred. They hate Trump. They don't want to beat Trump. They want to destroy Trump. Right? Let it all come out. Let the American people see that. I think you could work through this thing over the next couple of weeks until the doctors, say you're fine, and you got to really take care of yourself and get obviously the best medical attention you can. And obviously, he's going to take it very seriously. And just get on with it. And I would also I might dial down Twitter a little bit, right? I might get a little more focused on, I don't think we need as much Twitter, although I want Trump to be Trump. It's just, let's be selective here. Let's be smart. And I think you get through this, and I think you get through this in a positive. Because I got to tell you, if Joe Biden, who doesn't look that stable to me, right? If he gets this, how's Joe Biden going to react to it? This is a test of a commander-in-chief, and let people compare and contrast. But what I would definitely argue, and I have argued over the last couple of hours, because I think you've got some great. I think Kayleigh's great. I think Ronna McDaniel's great. I think Jason Miller's great. I think Steve Cortez is a rock star. I'd get my stars out. I think Mark Meadows is great. You've got great people at the White House. You got great people at the campaign. You got people that really put forward in an environment that is almost irrational. I mean, the abuse these people get is incredible, and I think they're true heroes and they're real patriots. I would just get back up and say, hey, it's the 2nd of October, and here's what we're going to do. Here's what the president's doing today. Here's the meetings he's going to have. Here's the briefings he's going to have. And let Mnuchin and Esper and Pompeo, you got a fabulous team, let them just do their jobs.
So no big deal. Move forward. Do things digitally. Can't see people. Now, what about the debate in I guess 10 days now?
Let's just. It's the debate's the 15th, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it should be outside the day of the when you can come back and be tested. But if it's not, maybe we move it a couple of days.
Yeah. No big
if
deal.
They want to do it. Yeah, it's not a big deal. This is not. We'll move it a couple of days. If Biden don't want to move it, then we figure that out too.
Right.
Right. We'll get to that. That's downrange a little bit. Let's take care of first things first. First thing, most important thing, is to make sure that the world capital markets, the world governments, both our allies and our enemies understand that it's just another day at the office in the United States and on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the thing to get the word out. You've got a terrific team to do that. You got Kudlow, you got Navarro, you got Mnuchin on the finance and capital market side. You've got Wilbur Ross. You've got your team. You've been working with this team for 4 years. You get people on the phone. I think you put out a plan the day the meetings you have digitally. I think you have a cabinet meeting, right? You have a cabinet meeting. Get them all up on not Zoom. Get them all up on Skype, right? You don't use CCP technology. You get them all up. You have everybody talk about it. Get Ben Carson out there. Look, you got a great team. This is why the government's not a one man band. He's got to, no matter what they say, it's and I actually watched the Comey thing on Showtime. And if you want to see something that's just a complete joke, a lie from start to finish, is and I recommend people watch it. You just see the complete lies and how they're so afraid of Trump and they're so afraid of your audience, John, the deplorables, that they'll just make up lies. But I think here is actually a huge opportunity to show the American people the steadfastness that is Trump, and your advertisement you just made beforehand, right? America's on the ballot, and Trump represents that America, which is about grit, determination, steadfastness, and just let's get on with it, right? We're Americans. Let's just get on with it. We have a can-do attitude. This shouldn't be, this virus, and I think President Trump can make the argument, hey, this is how we understand this virus is out there. We understand this virus is a deadly virus. It's killed 200,000 people. And a lot of those people had comorbidities or issues. But we're smart. I'm not giving you a plan for March like Joe Biden. I'm just not sitting there repeating happy talk. It's data-based, science-based. Let Fauci make the decisions, right? You have to do this. We have second and third order magnitude issues. And quite frankly, the economy, you have to open this thing up or we're going to have a depression. I'm here in New York City. It's still crickets here, right? These Democratic governors and these Democratic mayors think there's a continual unlimited money machine backed by the U.S. taxpayer to continue to do this. It can't, right? At some point in time, and by the way, the recovery's going well. Why? Because you've done it in a smart way. So I think you now show that, and I think you can show it. And I don't think it's that difficult to show because you've got a good plan, you've got a good team, you know how to execute. So let's just get on with it. And that's what I would argue today. And I think you're going to hear some voices arguing that. I think the president's going to, I believe the president's going to show very well. Look, remember, don't ever lose the fact on when Billy Bush happened, every reason we took a step back is everybody ran for the hills, right? Everybody ran for the hills. They wanted to dump Trump, right? There's huge pressure by the next morning around, from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon, that, get him off the ballot, and I just said, hey, 100% metaphysical certitude, you're going to win this. This campaign's not about this. The country's not there. These people they want to save the United States of America. They want to save their country, right? What we should do is go have a rally, right? And we worked through that, right? And the next day, the women that Bill Clinton had raped or sexually abused showed up to hold him account. We changed the narrative. We got inside of Hillary Clinton's head, right? As Trump, really bench pressed her on that debate. And guess what? That propelled us, as you remember, on that evening of Friday, it looked like the end of Donald Trump's candidacy.
Oh yeah.
And by the end of Sunday night, that was the motive force that drove the next 3 weeks to victory.
Yep.
Okay, so don't let any deplorable. This is an opportunity. There's an opportunity to show the greatest strengths of Donald Trump, which is a steadfastness that can get things done.
A resolve.
Joe Biden has never gotten anything done in his life. That's the difference. And the country's in a crisis. We're in a crisis because the Chinese Communist Party's virus. And I hope that this is providential, that certain members of our government will now start saying the CCP virus and start to hold these people accountable. This is what Beijing wanted. What they want is Donald Trump out of the White House. What they want is Joe Biden back with Jake Sullivan and Tony Blinken and Kurt Campbell and these guys that want to recouple, not decouple. They want to recouple. They want to kowtow to the Chinese Communist Party. They want to genuflect to the party of Davos's globalist business plan. That's what Biden represents, and that is the meta-narrative of this. Biden is he's the establishment's last man standing, okay? He's more than even Hillary Clinton, right? They want him to go back and undo everything that Trump has done to try to stop the managed decline of this country. Okay? And you talk about a man of action and what he's done. As imperfect as he is, and as imperfect as this program is, the program hasn't been perfect, but you know what? It's been pretty damn good. And directionally, it's great, right? That's why he needs the second term, to continue to pound this, right? As imperfect a vehicle as he is, right? And he's the first to admit that, right? He's the best I think we've ever had. And that's why he's got to hammer it home. And Joe Biden, to me, is a complete and total joke. And the way the mainstream media has propped this up, the way that the corporatists have propped this guy up, right? It just sure I think he's a complete joke. I had tremendous respect for Clinton. I can't stand the sight of her, but I had tremendous respect for her, how tough she was. I have no respect for Joe Biden, zero. I just think he's an empty suit. And that in a nation in crisis, you need someone that can handle a crisis. And I think that's Trump. And I think this is a moment. I think this is providential. I think it's a moment for him to show, in a crisis, I'm the guy you want to count on. Because I have now a personal crisis because I've got the virus, and obviously the country's still in the crisis. And I'm gonna be the leader that the nation needs.
Resolve, determination, leadership. Out of time, but I got to ask you this: second debate. What does he have to do?
Let Joe Biden. The only thing I think the president won the first debate. The only criticism I have: don't cut the guy off. The guy's terrible. He's wandering around when Chris Wallace has got to jump in and bring him back on the mask question, when he's got to bring him back on the tax increase question. After 3 sentences, Biden doesn't know where he is. He's got sundowns. It's obvious. I know the Democrats. On Sunday night, I'm going to be on the circus, right? And I'm on Yahoo, I think, this morning. So I've been spending a lot of time with the Democrats and what they're thinking. And they were not happy. They're in panic mode. They understand after three sentences, let Biden finish and then summarize and crush him. Let him finish what he's got to say. Don't cut him off, because he's his own worst salesman, because he's babbling. Let the nation see that he can't connect sentences and he can't connect ideas to articulate anything. It's all, he's got these weird kind of Tourette syndrome, bizarro Joker smiles and laughs and, making faces. He's a bizarre guy, right? Let his bizarreness come out. Let his lack of focus come out, and then drop the hammer on him, right?
Bizarro guy. That, you know what? Just thinking about I never thought of that. I kind of thought about the Tourette's thing when you said that, but it is like a Joker face. I mean, it is kind of bizarre. It's like the Joker.
No, it's the bad. He's got really bad plastic surgery with a bizarre these Tourette syndrome. It's the Joker. Come on, let it go. Don't stop it. That's the best thing we got going. I know you want to jump in and correct all the lies he's saying, but that's okay.
Let him go.
Let him go. Come on, it's Biden. How can you take this? Hillary Clinton I took seriously. She's a hammer.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe Biden is the dumbest guy in the class, right? Let Joe Biden be Joe Biden. Hillary Clinton was a problem. This guy's a clown. Let him be. Let him go forward. Come on, man.
Stephen came back. See, Stephen, at the end of the call here, you got me in a good mood now, laughing. So that's good.
These are good things. These are great days. Come on. These are great days. We're saving the greatest country in the history of mankind.
I know.
Come on.
Kiara's telling me I got to go, but I just got to say this. I mean, they went for 6 months saying they can't knock on a door, everybody will die. Now we're crushing them. We have the greatest ground game in the history of politics, even in Virginia. I mean, I got to tell you, we're going to win Virginia. It's unbelievable, the ground game. Now they come out and say, well, we're going to have to start to knock on doors. Wait a minute. A week ago you said if you knock on doors, people are going to die. You can't go to school, but you can knock on a door? They're in a dead ring panic, Steve. John Fredericks Radio Network, the Joker.